Hi, it's me, your boyfriend slash girlfriend slash day friends, favorite content creator. And I want to talk to you about rage bait and slop. Rage bait being the Oxford, word of the year, and slop being Merriam-Webster's word of the year. I don't think it's a coincidence that both rage bait and slop are the words of the year, because I don't think there has been a year on record where rage bait and slop haven't been an all-time high. For some reason, in the year 2025, we just incentivized people putting out the most rage-inducing content and obviously the most slop. And those two go hand in hand, because a lot of the people putting out slop just so happen to be rage baiters. Now, I mentioned this on a community post, but I'll say it here and I'll show it to you guys too. I think people who rage bait are some of the most boring people imaginable. I think if you have to get on the internet and get people upset in order for you to gain any sort of traction, in order for you to have people talking about you, you're boring. And I truly still don't understand how there are people who are even entertaining that. That can't be entertaining. Just watching someone talk and have them upset people, like intentionally, not on some, here are my opinions on a controversial topic, but here are my fake opinions on a topic that I'll know get people mad so I get more clicks, right? Because everyone's all about clip farming and trolling and, again, rage baiting, because they have no discernible skills. Because back in the day, when you wanted to be, someone, you had to actually do something. Even back in the 90s, that ancient time period where you had shock jockeys and you had the Carlos Mencias of the world. They were flashes in the pan because they couldn't build on it. They couldn't sustain things because they weren't interesting. And I feel like we're getting that, but to a much worse degree. Because now if you go on YouTube, you type in the name of a movie, a book series, a video game, a TV series, and you're going to get bombarded with 3,000 videos about how this is rage, or it's rage bait because this is slop. This is just DEI or whatever, girl power, she boss, whatever type of slop. And the people putting that out do nothing but promote hatred and slop. And I'm saying slop a lot because that's the word of the year. And I think it's appropriate, even though I did a video where I think people use that word way too much. In its core essence, there are people putting out slop. You see it all the time. Again, and those two go hand in hand with rage bait. You'll have people talking about certain topics, like really women, but if it's Brie Larson blinks, there's 30 videos talking about Brie Larson. There's some losers talking about Ghost of Yote still, about how, it didn't win any awards and therefore it must be bad. But I want you to pay attention to the people who are still doing this, because I want you to go through their history and see on their channels how the views aren't what they used to be. And I think actually having rage bait and slop be the words of the year perfectly encapsulate people's feelings about that kind of content. People hate that shit. People hate that shit. Even on Twitter, the place that monetized rage baiting, they're regretting it wholeheartedly. They're trying to find ways to de-incentivize people from making posts that are just rage bait. First thing with community notes. If your posts get community noted and you have a blue check mark, you don't get money off that post, right? But now they're even going so far as to try to change the algorithm to get back journalists. If you want to bring journalists back to a site like that, then you have to disincentivize people from posting misinformation, which is another way to say rage baiters can't make money anymore. That's the only way. And they're having to, grapple with that because they thought they could just have people on the internet, on their site, spreading misinformation left and right and profiting from it, not realizing there are real tangible outcomes of that, like getting your asses sued. YouTube was messing on with the idea, and YouTube's moderation is not good. Hell, I got hit for having like sexual graphic content on a stream of mine, which nothing of the sort even happened, but this is the world we live in now. But even YouTube's trying to find ways to, deboost pages that just do nothing but spread misinformation. Because again, it's easy. It's so easy to do that. Why do you think these people are so gung-ho over AI? Why do you think so many of these slop channels, these ragebait channels, these ragebait posters online often have AI profiles, often use AI generated imagery? When they don't like someone, here's 1,000 AI generated images of Alicia Makante crying, or Atsu crying, or Hassan balding, or X, let's be real, a left-leaning person here, right? They don't have any skills. They need that. They need the machine to do the work for them, because actually having passion and being creative is so divorced from their reality that it actually upsets them when there are people who are capable of doing what the machines do, but at a much, 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 much higher quality.
Hi, it's editing me. I just wanted to say, I thought of a joke while watching the playback, and I should have said, so divorced from reality that it's taking the kids, or that it's taking the house. It's so divorced from reality that they can't go to counseling. Like, they're so divorced from creativity that they have a restraining order against it. You can take anyone you want. I just wanted to get that in there real quick. Okay, bye.
They get so incensed because they are slop artists. That's their whole thing. They want to get on the internet. They want to put as little effort as to anything as possible, but get all of the reward. They want all of the money. They want all the praise. Do you know how easy it is, how low effort it is to just be like, I'm going to be racist on the internet? Do you remember that one white lady who said the N-word? You got money? Not that one, the other one who, try to be like the next like Fox News person of the week. You notice that's a trend where you just say racist stuff and it's like, oh, now I'm on Fox News. Oh, now I have a give, send, go. Now I have all this, right? But even that stuff's starting to dry up. People are getting tired of it, which again is why I love the fact that these are the word of the years, respectively, ragebait and slop. Because if there's one thing we've had to deal with ad nauseum, it's ragebait and slop. And to finish this video off, not too long, I also want to talk specifically about handling ragebait, because I know a lot of people will just look at you and give you the same advice they always give about trolls. Just ignore it. It goes away. That's not true. Ignoring it doesn't do anything. All that does is allow it to grow and fester. If people are allowed to keep rage baiting and not being exposed for that, then they're going to keep doing it. Of course, people who like the rage baiters will just say, you fell for it. He's just clip farming. He's just rage baited. But that's just them coping. That is just them coping, because their content creator that they like has really bad, terrible takes, and they subconsciously know it's bad and terrible, so they have to protect it, and by extension themselves, or their sense of self, by saying they're just kidding, it's not that deep, it's not that serious. But if no one was pushing back, you wouldn't hear them say it's not that deep, it's not that serious. They'd be like, haha, that's so funny, that's so true. So I say, push back against that shit. Push back against slop, push back against bigotry in all forms. Because what they want to be able to do is this. They want to be able to get on the internet and get people upset and have no consequence for it. Look what happens when they actually have to face the music, right? Suddenly they'll make posts like, well, no, I wasn't saying that. Or please, these losers, these libs are trying to get me demonetized. It's like, no, dude. No one's trying to get you demonetized. You said that. You did that. Oh yeah, I'm going viral, clip farmer. You want to go viral? People seeing how big of a dumbass you are? You want to go viral because you're illiterate? Like, I'm not sorry. Those people should be made fun of and ridiculed, because that's the only way they'll learn. Not by ignoring it. Amplify that shit. Show how dumb they are. It's just like when people say like, oh, these ideologies, just ignore it and it goes away. No, because when you ignore it and there's no counter for it, people will keep doing it. You've seen it 1,000 times. Let me put on my political hat for a second. But during the 2024 election cycle, there was no real demonstrable pushback by Democrats to fight against anti-trans narrative and anti-immigration. In fact, a lot of them capitulated on those fronts. And look what happened now. It didn't get better by ignoring it. It didn't get better by not addressing it. People were like, oh, it's not worth addressing. It is worth addressing. People are saying it. It's worth countering it. If people were coming into my page or coming to my chats and coming into my streams and what have you, talking about how the earth is flat, I would say you're a dumbass. The earth is clearly not flat. I wouldn't say don't pay it any mind, right? Because not just one person doing it. There's hundreds of thousands of people doing it. And on the internet, things are so decentralized, who knows? Someone might stumble upon what you say and be like, damn, you know what? That took me out of it. And you might not think that's true, but I've had people tell me that. Like they saw one of my videos or they saw a stream or they saw people commenting my stuff and they went to see for themselves. I'm like, oh, wow, this actually is dumb. Why are people arguing over this? So like when people talk about like rage baiters and stuff, don't fall for the trap of ignoring it. Now, don't also fall for, like arguing with every single person. You have to use discretion, but never just be like, it's okay. It's fine. It's just whatever. It's never really that. Like ultimately when people tell you like, that's just not that deep, 9 out of 10 times, it is that deep. They just don't want you to analyze it because they want to be able to engage in it without having to think critically. And I love thinking critically. That's most of my content over here. That's why I hyperfixate on random shit. But yeah, I just want to say that. I think Slop and Ragebait being the words of the year is more than apt in 2025. Because goddamn, there was a lot of slop. And we got to clean it up. It sucks, but we got to do it.